Hey guys, I wanted to make this video today because I wanted to address one of the comments here on this channel. And the reason why this is important to me, you guys, is I can't tell you how close I feel to this individual with everything they're experiencing. I know exactly what they're talking about, but I've been on the other side of it. And I could tell you that being on the other side, it takes maybe some advice to get there. So I just want to make this video. It can't be that I am the only one or this individual is the only one who've experienced this in life or something similar. And this is just, a lot of the times we make print-on-demand videos, we talk about motivation, we talk about inspiration, but a lot of the times our lifestyle, the way we live, the way we think, really plays a big part of who we are. And so this wouldn't be a success channel, it wouldn't be a motivational winning, in business type channel if we don't talk about the things we're talking about right now in this video. So I want to go ahead and address that. Now, just to be clear, the video that was created was called We Are Screwed. And basically what the video was about, how the Fed was raising the interest rate. And really what that means is that people are going to be able to afford housing less. They're going to have to go into, instead of owning their own homes, they're going to have to, go for some apartments. And basically what I was trying to say is that everything is going up in price except for salaries. And there was really no better time to get into print on demand. There's no better moment to get into this kind of stuff because there's going to be a moment in time where a lot of people, the bills are just simply not being paid. And they need a little bit more supplemental income. And passive income methods like Redbubble, like print on demand, like, everything that we've been talking about on this channel, right? Like, I don't have to sit here and list it. You guys know what it is, helps. So I want to be clear. I want to read this comment and I want to address it. So Danielle Lawson says, I've been thinking of getting into print on demand or other passive income streams like YouTube. My only problem is I didn't finish college. I failed in my first year due to a learning disability, so I don't know where to start. I don't know much about design. I'm horrible at drawing, organization of pre-made pictures I'm good at, but I was never very good at drawing. This is also the fact that no one in my family seems to think that I will have any luck succeeding. They think I have unrealistic ideas about how fast I should succeed, but I don't. I know that just like anything, it will take work and a lot of time, possibly years, and I'm not looking to make this my main job right away. I plan to get another job in the meantime so I can pay the bills. I am someone who needs support, so any ideas would be helpful. And so, Danielle, you asked, and you shall receive, right? So you asked, can anybody give me some ideas? I need help, etc. Shout out to you, first of all. Guys, the reason why I'm making this video is I know exactly what Danielle feels. When I was a young kid, and I'm not going to tell a whole big story here, but when I was young and I was going to school, I remember my parents, right after Sunday church, they would all sit down on these big tables in the church and just talk about how their week went, talk about how everything went. And I remember how my parents, they would always be talking about education, schooling. And they would always be worried because their son, which was me, failed terribly in school, failed terribly. And I'm not talking about failing like, getting a 60 on a spelling test. I'm talking about getting a 5 out of 100, a 15 out of 100. I'm talking that level of failure. And, due to my such low scores, teachers wanted to test me if I had some sort of, learning disability, something wrong with me, what's wrong with this kid. And the reality is that teachers said, oh yeah, I have some learning disabilities. I have this disease called ADHD, ADD, all the D's in the dictionary is something that I had, right? I don't know, I'm not going to sit here and list all these things, but you guys get the point. But I found something kind of interesting, and hindsight is 2020 because I didn't notice this when I was younger. But they said, "Oh, he just can't focus. He just can't pay attention." And I remember looking back as a student, what I would do is, as the teacher would be lecturing the class, telling us how to, count our 1, 2, 3s, how to learn our ABCs, all this kind of stuff. What I would do is I would be staring at the clock, and I would be counting as fast as I can until the minute would be over, like until the clock made a full 60-second rotation. And I would try to break my own record over and over and over again, because to me, that was more interesting than the things that the teacher was saying. Now, this is no, diss on the teachers or anything like that, but this is just the world that I lived in, right? I hated school with a passion. But it had to be done. I mean, you can't tell a third grader, yeah, you could drop out of school. No, you can't. And I wouldn't have developed in any kind of way either had I did. Now, to be clear with that, these learning disabilities, like I said, that I looked back and I told myself something was odd. I had these learning disabilities for some reason only in the classroom. If you put me on a soccer field, you put me on a basketball court, you put me in front of a video game, all of a sudden these learning disabilities, they've disappeared from my life. But as soon as I was in that classroom, these learning abilities, disabilities, these disadvantages, quote unquote, somehow seem to appear. And I think genuinely that most of us, unless you have like autism or something like that, most of us generally don't have learning disabilities. I think we have interest disabilities. If we're not interested in something, we're just not going to be interested. I mean, there's just no way around it, right? And as a kid, it's hard to get a kid interested in things that are boring, straight up boring, right? Well, the point here is that there was nothing wrong with me. And I'm sure, and I'm talking to Danielle, and the reason why I'm saying this is you wrote this whole paragraph here as a comment. You were able to write this paragraph not with some sort of issue. I'm sure it didn't take you 6 hours to write it. I'm sure you really don't have any real issues. You've been told by the system that you have issues. But you're sitting there in a classroom that just doesn't captivate you. That's first of all. I think that's the first thing. You're just not captivated by the environment, and therefore the performance will lack. That's normal. If you guys put me in a play right now, you guys know those plays, those opera plays where people are singing and their voices and you can't understand a word they're saying. If you put me in there, I'm not going to be able to focus. I'm going to be going on my phone. I'm going to be waiting to get out of there as fast as possible. It's going to be torture for me. My point is that everybody has their advantages, everybody has their disadvantages. And because somebody has told you that you have a quote-unquote learning disability, you don't have a learning disability. You have a lack of interest in what they're teaching. That's what you have. You don't have some sort of disease or whatever. All these diseases that they call diseases, these ADHD, ADD, these are truly gifts if you think about it. Because if I, for example, attention deficit disorder, meaning I can't give enough attention to one thing, that means my brain is working on all cylinders. I'm focused on 15 things at once. If anything, that's an advantage. And imagine if I'm doing this with things that I genuinely enjoy. That's the first thing, okay? So I want to get this clear. What the world tells you is simply not true. It's just not true. And the reason why I have to even make this and I have to even talk about this is because I just don't see enough people talking about stuff like this. That's number one. Number two, I want to get into this concept of the hero's journey. And I know I've spoken about this before, and I know this might sound cliche, and I know it might sound cringy to some people, but just hear me out. In life, and this is what I truly believe, because I went through my hero's journey, kind of, at least what I think of as a hero's journey. And by the way, my hero's journey is always changing, and it's always having a new arc to it. But in life, everybody's going to have certain challenges, right? And sometimes these challenges are so monumental, they're so difficult, that you can either choose to run away from them or handle them. There's really no in-between. You can't choose in-between. And a lot of the times, the individuals who go on these challenges, whether they be given to them, whether they've been put in that situation by their own doing, whether it's not by their own doing. A lot of times when they're in these situations and they decide to move forward with the situation and encounter it head on, they live a life after the situation is conquered, after the mountaintop is cleared. They live a life of fulfillment and happiness. You have other groups of individuals who just simply cannot, for whatever reasons. I'm not insulting them, but I'm just saying, who simply cannot. 9 times out of 10 is due to either fear, lack of self-esteem, whatever it may be, something internal, and they deny the call. And when they deny the call, they live a life of anger, resentment, frustration. We see this happen all the time, and I'll give you an example. Let's talk about drugs, for example, okay? A lot of times, a lot of young people are introduced to drugs in high school, sometimes even junior high, okay? Like the middle school age, sometimes even high school. They get introduced to it. They get on the wrong things. It could be weed. It could be, whatever it is. It could be smoking even, right? Alcohol. Alcohol, in my opinion, is a drug. I mean, for me, as far as I'm concerned, the only difference is they legalized it. That's really the only difference, just so they can tax it. But anyways, that's not the point. They get on these things. And remember, this is a challenge, issue in life that they have to encounter. Like I said, some kids might have this issue of drinking, doing drugs, whatever. They have certain moments in time where they have a calling. This calling is to fix this problem, to go on this journey of fixing this problem. And it could be months of pain, months of withdrawals, weeks of withdrawals, a deep urge to go back to this addiction. And some of them truly do conquer these addictions. A good example of this is the comedian Bobby Lee. When he was younger, a lot of people don't know this story, but when he was younger, he was molested. And what he would do to get over his molestation is he started taking drugs because he couldn't confront the boogeyman per se. He couldn't confront the idea that he was taken advantage of as a young child. And so he started doing drugs. He started at a young age. We're talking teenager ages. And by the time he was a senior in high school, he actually became sober. He broke free from his quote-unquote addiction. And then he went on for years and years and years being sober. My point is that he confronted the boogeyman. He confronted the mountaintop. He confronted, that was his hero's journey for a period of time in his life. And he went over that mountaintop. Now, everybody is different, so I'm not telling you guys to go out there and take some drugs and now try to fix yourself. That's not what I'm going to say, because I know for sure, 100%, if you put me on drugs, I would never be able to get off. I know me personally, I'm talking to you guys honestly right now. Everybody's issues are different, right? Everybody's issues are different. Everybody's mountaintop is different. For some people, it could be, let's just use the example of a single mom. She might be a single mom. She has to take care of kids. That by itself is a hero's journey, right? That is a challenge that she chose to take on as a mother. She could have, let her children go to adoption or something like that. She could have done that, but she didn't. That's a hero's journey, right? So all I'm trying to say is we have these challenges in life. There's a challenge coming that all of us are going to have to face. Unless you've been like a billionaire baby and you're inheriting all your money from your parents, we're all going to face this challenge. The challenge is the income is going to be more scarce. That's for everybody now. The jobs are not going to be paying as much. There's going to be more difficult scenarios. Gas is going to cost more. Food is going to cost more. And the reality is we as individuals have the chance to confront this hero's journey by taking on something new. It could be a new passive income business. It could be whatever. And we have the chance now to fully, essentially climb that mountain, not only by going to it, but by succeeding and coming back on the other side successful. I'm talking about, maybe you start a YouTube channel. Maybe you start a print-on-demand business. Maybe you start I don't know, you name it. Maybe you start that whatever, that thing that might seem daunting, might seem a little worrisome, might give you a little bit of anxiety to think about, right? I mean, I know how it feels, guys. There are certain things in my life that I think about, wow, it's a little nerve-wracking, but I'm ready for it. And I am nervous. I am worried a little bit. I am worried that things might not come out my way, but I have to approach it. Because if I don't, remember what on the other side is, if you don't move forward in this quote-unquote hero's journey, for the rest of your time until you find a new hero's journey, you're going to live a life of anger, resentment, and this is just facts. I'm not making this stuff up. This is unfortunately why a lot of people have issues, are depressed, are angry, and all these things. They don't know why, right? It's because they have certain things that they have not fully confronted, right? And I know a lot of people are going to sit here and say, you don't understand depression things. I know what it feels like to be depressed. I can't explain to you guys how depressed I was for a period in my life. I don't even want to even go back to that moment of time of thinking, because it was that severe. But I can tell you that depression is, for example, a wave. It goes and it comes depending on your situation of life. A lot of people think depression is supposed to be something permanent. It's not. It's really not. And I'm speaking as a psychology major. I'm speaking as somebody who studied this, and I have my degree in psychology, by the way. I'm speaking from somebody from a perspective of that's the opposite from the therapists that just want to pump you up with drugs all day because they get money for the prescriptions and whatnot. I'm the opposite of that. I'm telling you guys that depression is in your life supposed to be a motivator. It is a tool. If you feel depressed, that means congratulations, you're doing something wrong with your life and you need to fix it. That's exactly what I felt when I was off the track in my life. I really can't explain it enough. And we could have a whole different episode for this. But what I'm trying to tell you guys is that if you feel that you want to do something, you have to go after and do it. Assuming that it doesn't harm anybody, it doesn't cause any evil in the world, things like that, you got to go out and do it. Because it's an experience that you need to experience in order to be fulfilled. Regardless of the outcome, you need to go on that journey. Now, for Danielle, she says here that, her family has put her down. They don't believe in her. And I see from what she's saying here that maybe she doesn't believe in herself as much, because she's saying that my family doesn't believe in me. I didn't finish college, all this. But Danielle, I would suggest that you are looking only to the negative situations. Think about all the things that you do have versus what you don't have. You have a working brain. You have working hands. You have the ability to type up stuff. I know this because I'm reading your comment, right? And I'm sure you have more than those abilities that I can't even list. Now, mind you, I'm talking to a computer screen as we speak. I don't know who I'm talking to. I don't know what you look like. I don't know how tall you are. I don't know if, I don't know anything about you. I don't know if you're disabled, physically disabled. I don't know if you're not physically. I don't know anything about you. All I'm saying is that you have more abilities than disabilities. And what you have is you have the ability to use those things to make yourself successful. If you have the ability to write a comment, I'm telling you, and I promise you, you do have the ability to succeed in any of these passive income businesses that you choose. So this video is not just for Danielle, but it's for everybody. The first takeaway is don't listen to what the world tells you. The world wants to put you down. The world wants to make you believe that you can't achieve great things, but you absolutely can. That's the first thing. The second thing is understand that depression, sadness, anxiety, it is supposed to be a motivator and a tool, not something that is made to cripple you. And you have to understand, and you have to sit down, and you have to ask yourself, why am I depressed? And this is something I want to share. Robin Williams, you guys know the comedian, killed himself because of his depression. We can say because of his depression. Now, I might argue that whatever that depression was, he was using, I believe, drugs to medicate that. But I believe, me personally, that sitting around with a therapist talking about how depressed you are all day causes more depression. Feeling sorry for yourself causes more depression. There has to be a turning point in your life where you believe that you have to move on. Now, a therapist will never tell you this because they need to be sitting on the other side of that table on the couch for them to keep getting paid. So they'll never tell you this. But the truth is that eventually you're going to have to get out there and tackle whatever is hurting you mentally, okay? You might be depressed because you're poor and you feel like you haven't gotten a fair shake in life. You're going to have to go confront that. You might feel like you're depressed because you just can't attract people of the opposite sex. You're going to have to go and confront that. You might feel depressed and angry and sad because you feel, I don't know. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on and on, okay? You're going to have to confront what is causing you problems in life. And more importantly, you're going to have to commit. This, I haven't shared this yet, but you're going to have to, and this has to be law in yourself. You have to do this without any negotiation, that there is no plan B. You have to go through the thing that you want to go through, and you have to come back on the other side victorious with no negotiation, with no ands, ifs, or buts. You have to, or else you're not going to be able to move on with life. Because this is going to be a history that repeats itself. You're going to visit new concepts, new ideas. You're going to say, I want to get into them, but you just can't for whatever reason. And it's going to be a cycle that repeats itself. So this is a moment in time, and everybody who's watching this now, it is a moment in time for every single person to go after the thing that they want to do and not only try it, but achieve it, and then come back on the other side successful. Now, it doesn't matter what that thing is. It really does not matter. It's so irrelevant of what that thing actually is. But you have to pick one thing and stick to it. Stick to it until you complete it. All right? Hopefully this video helped out, not only mentally, emotionally, but morally. I have no intention of offending anybody in this video, but the video is only to impress upon you that you have the ability and you have the capability of doing more. Okay? Love you guys. I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out. Bye.